My goal to get a run of the second stage in Trials for Navigator without 6 stars isn't going well. Maleknights just doesn't have many options for stunning aerial enemies. So I decided to take a break by subjecting myself to doing BP-EX-8 challenge mode with 5 stars only. The first important mechanic here is the boss's buff, which targets the Seaborn with the highest current HP. We don't have a lot of DPS to work with, so we need to delay the boss's phase 2 as much as possible. Tequila is deployed first, to immediately damage the first 2 box boys, so the boss's first buff lands on the last box boy. And I let him swing 5 times to bring their HP below the Pyramid Head wannabes on the right, so the boss's second buff goes to one of them. Doing this enables us to kill all the phase 1 enemies, while leaving the 2 buffed enemies for last. The other important thing here is to try to destroy as many bone platforms as possible. Even with all the healing I bring, it's impossible to tank the fully evolved Pyramid Heads at the end of the stage for a prolonged period of time. And they take forever to kill. A lot of the timings throughout the run are a lot tighter than they look because of this. For example, the deployment of Fuse earlier in the fight needed to catch the bone guy early enough that the platform tried to spawn on top of Fuse, which causes the spawn to fail. After that, Fuse then catches the second bone guy on a tile that none of the Pyramid Head wannabes passed through. With all that done, there's 3 main issues to solve in Phase 1. First are the enemies on the right, which are difficult to reach. But Fuse's S2 is pretty much ideal in this scenario. Second, there are constant massive swarms of enemies rushing to the blue box. Since we can't bring Ethan to stall, I instead bring Air Scarp and 2 defenders for a potential 8-hit multi-attack with Air Scarp's S2.
We're not here to be courteous.
I also bring Bobbing for some additional AoE. The last problem is the final box boy on the left. With the boss's buff, he stuns defenders in 1 hit, and one-shots pretty much everyone else. But while I want to kill him, I don't want to kill him too early. As soon as it's dead, the boss will buff some of the weaker enemies, and once that happens, triggering an early Phase 2 is nearly guaranteed. Since this box boy just sits there for a long time, I bring his health low with Tequila's S2, with the kill eventually taking place after it slowly makes its way over to Air Scarp. Similarly, Minimalist is used to get the last Pyramid Head wannabe on the right down to low health. He's then retreated so that Puzzle can kill it later. As we wait for the 2 buffed enemies to enter their kill zones, we start preparing for Phase 2. In Phase 2, the boss will target your operators and force them to use their skills while draining their HP if it isn't full. Because of this, I need to juggle the boss's aggro. This deployment of Fuse on the left lets me do a nice chunk of damage to the Pyramid Head wannabes that spawn at the start of Phase 2. But the primary purpose of it is to keep the debuff off of Norcorn. Norcorn is here to deal with another bone guy that spawns in Phase 2. Since his S2 causes him to stop blocking enemies briefly, it gives a little bit of time for the bone guy to enter Noircorn's tile before it gets killed. This means we block another bone platform from spawning. With all of this, it ultimately means we only have to deal with 2 fully evolved pyramid heads. And these 2 are the ones that are pretty much impossible to stop from happening. Once Fuse gets debuffed, I redeploy Tequila to get more DPS down by the blue box. Bison's S2 gives him Taunt, which is used here to keep the debuff off of Tequila. As Bison's skill ends, I bring back Minimalist and swap out Air Scarp for Hung. Minimalist is deployed on the right to finish off the last 2 Pyramid Head wannabes. Meanwhile, Hung is here to keep everyone alive once the 2 fully evolved Pyramid Heads arrive. Even with Bison's defense buff, 2 healing defenders, and Herald, there still isn't enough healing to tank these guys. So it's really just about trying to survive as long as possible here. I throw some DPS on the right to help kill the last Pyramid Head wannabe, just in case I get unlucky with Minimalist crits. I actually really love Fuse's S2. I think it's a really cool skill. And when Fuse was released, I was always on the lookout for places to use him for several months. So I'm a little embarrassed with how long it took me to realize this was the perfect scenario for him. I spent way too long trying to get a run with Seiza working here, thinking I had to use a ranged unit. This last part of the fight uses the tried and true tactic of flying by the seat of your pants. I throw everything onto the last few enemies on the left and activate all the skills. Even with all that, it's pretty tight. But eventually the boys get the job done. And that's all I have to say about this clear. Thanks for watching.
Such adaptability and command proficiency. I'm all too glad you're not my target.